When someone makes you feel like you're too sensitive every time you express how you feel, that's not love. That's dismissal. Real love listens, even when it's uncomfortable. If they can't handle your truth, they don't deserve your trust. If you constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells just to keep the peace, that's not a healthy bond. Love should give you room to breathe, not make you afraid to speak your heart. Silence and fear is not respect. When their version of support feels more like control, it's not care. It's control disguised as love. Pay attention to how they limit your freedom while saying it's for your own good. Real love doesn't trap you, it sets you free. If you always end up apologizing just to avoid a fight, even when you're not wrong, that's a red flag. Peace should never come at the cost of your dignity. You're not difficult for wanting to be treated fairly. When you start questioning your worth more often than you feel appreciated, something is off. The right person will never make you feel like you're too much. You should never have to shrink to be loved. If they only show love when you do things their way, that's not affection. That's manipulation. Conditional love keeps you chained to their approval. You deserve someone who sees your value, not someone who rewards your obedience. When they blame you for how they treat you, it's a tactic. Making you feel like everything is your fault keeps you under control. Love takes responsibility. Love doesn't twist pain into punishment or fault into guilt. If your joy feels like a threat to them, that's a silent alarm. Love should celebrate you, not compete with your light. Someone who loves you wants you to shine, not shrink, so they can stand taller. When you feel more confused than clear after every conversation, you're not overthinking, you're being manipulated. Toxic love hides in mixed signals and twisted words. Clarity is a gift real love gives without you asking. If they keep bringing up your past mistakes just to win the present argument, that's not resolving, that's weaponizing. Forgiveness means letting go, not keeping score. Love builds forward. It doesn't dig up what you're trying to heal from. When they say they're just joking, but their jokes always hurt, it's not harmless. It's a mask for cruelty. Love doesn't laugh at your wounds. If someone's humor makes you feel small, it's not a joke, it's a warning. If they act sweet in front of others but treat you cold behind closed doors, believe what happens when no one is watching. Love shouldn't have two faces. What's real is how you're treated when the spotlight is off. When they talk over you or dismiss your ideas like they don't matter, that's not strength, it's ego. Love makes space for your voice. If you always feel silenced, it's not a safe space, it's a power play. If they guilt you for needing space or time to yourself, that's not intimacy, that's control. Love respects your boundaries. You don't have to be available every second to prove you care. When they give you just enough kindness to keep you hoping, but never enough to feel secure, that's emotional bait. Real love doesn't play games with your heart. You deserve steady love, not crumbs dressed as care. If every disagreement turns into a character attack, they're not trying to resolve, they're trying to destroy. Love focuses on solutions, not tearing down who you are. Disagreements shouldn't feel like emotional war zones. When they isolate you from the people who love you, they're not protecting the relationship. They're controlling your world. Anyone who loves you will want to see you thrive, not shrink your circle to keep you trapped. If they keep score of what they've done for you, they're not loving, they're bargaining. Love doesn't count favors. It flows from the heart, not a checklist. You're not in debt for being cared for. When you start losing parts of yourself just to keep them happy, that's not compromise. It's self-erasure. Love doesn't ask you to disappear. It sees you, holds you, and wants you to stay whole. If they use your fears and insecurities against you, even in moments of anger, it's not love. It's emotional warfare. Real love protects your wounds. It doesn't aim for them when it wants control. When their apology is just a way to reset the cycle, not change their behavior, it's not healing. It's manipulation in disguise. Real love doesn't repeat pain and call it passion. It learns and grows. If you're constantly exhausted from trying to keep the peace, ask yourself why love feels like a full-time job. Being in love shouldn't feel like surviving. It should feel like breathing. When they use your loyalty as a weapon to keep you quiet, that's not devotion. It's emotional blackmail. Being loyal doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment. True loyalty flows both ways. No matter what they've done, that's not being misunderstood. That's rewriting reality. Love doesn't twist the truth to avoid accountability. When their affection depends on your mood or choices, that's not connection. That's control wrapped in romance. Love doesn't punish you with silence or affection. It shows up even when it's tough. If your feelings are always too dramatic for them, but their anger is always justified, something isn't right. Love makes space for both people to feel, not just one. You're not wrong for feeling deeply. When they say they love you, but everything they do makes you doubt your worth, believe their actions. Words can be sweet, but love is always proven in consistency and care. If they expect you to be their emotional healer but offer you no support in return, that's not love. That's emotional labor. A healthy relationship is mutual, not one person pouring while the other only takes. When you constantly second guess whether something was really wrong or if you're just being sensitive, that's a red flag. Trust your gut. Love shouldn't make you question your reality. When you celebrate something important and they find a way to make it about them, it's not love. It's jealousy in disguise. Real love claps for you, not competes with you. If their love disappears every time you set a boundary, that's not love. That's a transaction. You don't have to earn basic respect. Boundaries are not betrayals. When you find yourself pretending to be happy just to avoid another argument, your peace has already been stolen. Love shouldn't require performance. You deserve honesty without fear. If they treat your silence as agreement instead of checking in on your feelings, that's emotional neglect. Real love doesn't read your quiet as peace. It listens beyond the noise. When their idea of fixing things is pretending nothing happened, that's not growth. That's denial. Love acknowledges pain. It doesn't brush it under the rug. If your needs are always labeled as too much, it's not because you're asking for too much. It's because they're willing to give too little. Real love doesn't shame you for needing to feel safe. When you're more focused on avoiding their mood than enjoying the relationship, that's not love. That's emotional survival. Love is not a guessing game. You deserve predictability, not panic. If they only say sorry when they're afraid of losing you, it's not regret. It's strategy. Apology should come from reflection, not desperation. Love owns up before it's too late. When you feel the need to explain them to your friends constantly, ask yourself why. Love shouldn't require excuses. If you always have to justify their behavior, you probably already know it's not okay. If they get more upset with your reaction than their own actions, that's not maturity. That's deflection. Love looks inward before pointing fingers outward. When you're scared to speak your mind because it might ruin the mood, that's not peace. That's suppression. Love welcomes truth even when it's uncomfortable. If their kindness only comes after you've threatened to leave, it's not growth. It's manipulation. Real love doesn't wait for an ultimatum to do better. When you've forgotten what it feels like to be fully yourself, that's not love. That's loss in disguise. A healthy relationship brings you back to you, not pushes you further away. When their silence becomes punishment instead of space, it's emotional control. Love communicates even in distance. It doesn't freeze you out to win power. If their love makes you question your sanity more than it gives you peace, walk away. Real love helps you find yourself, not lose your mind trying to be enough.